Hey there, and welcome back to another video. I'm Matt Shell, and this is Thousand Ant, where we give you Unity tutorials, devlogs, and indie game dev advice. In this video, I want to give you an update on the progress, or if I'm being totally honest, total lack thereof on my Untitled Cute Space Game. And I'll also share with you some of my thoughts about next steps, some of the advice that some of my friends have shared, and what I'm thinking about the future of the project. So let's get started. So it's summer here in Berlin, Germany. I took a little vacation with my kids. We went to a lake and it was really nice. I totally unplugged from screens and in the process absolutely killed my momentum on my Untitled Cute Space Game. I was already feeling a little stuck prior to taking a vacation. I recorded my 6-hour prototype video right before I left, took some time off, came back and just found myself absolutely dead in the water. You know, not the kind of thing I really want to be coming back to the channel and kind of blogging about. This is a pattern maybe for me personally, and I think it's also true for a lot of people. You have that initial spike of enthusiasm and energy and that feeling of open possibility in starting a new project. That gives you a big burst of momentum. And then at a certain point, you kind of hit a plateau, right? Where you're like, oh, okay. Initial momentum fades, and then it's just kind of a lot of work that you have to do. One of the things that I started to realize as I was thinking about making a clear plan for how to move forward was that I had maneuvered myself into a little bit of a trap in the sense that in taking Animal Crossing as a model to take inspiration from or to copy from, I had chosen a content-heavy format for the game, and that's really not what I'm good at. Now, if I was, for example, a 3D artist or even any kind of artist designing lots of different items that the player could upgrade and buy and so on, wouldn't be a big problem. But I realized with my core competency being a programmer, I'm good at making procedural content. I'm good at programming systems. And so I went and had some conversations with a couple of trusted friends. I spoke to Sam, my partner at Thousand Ant, and I also spoke to Matt Gamble from Game Dev Guide, who also does some work with us on some of our projects at Thousand Ant. You know, Matt was the one I spoke to first, and his advice was, first of all, don't give up, right? You should try to see this thing through to the finish, because I was kind of whining and saying, oh, I want to give up, which is just kind of part of the emotional ups and downs of creating anything. And he was talking to me about his progress on his game, Living the Deal, which has some parallels. And he was saying, we finally got the critical path of the game mapped out. We know exactly all the work that we're going to do. We know what the beginning, middle, and end are going to be. And he was feeling a lot of motivation from that and a lot of clarity, knowing what he had to do, right? And so he said, you know, if you're thinking this is not something you're going to want to work on for years and years, trying to scale back, trying to figure out the smallest possible version of the project that you can, and then try to finish and ship that, right? And I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. And now we're starting to impose constraints. That also, for me, sparks my creativity to be like, okay, what's the smallest version of this that I could think of? What's a kind of a design hook that I could hang off of around small? That gave me a little bit of a spark, and I started kind of thinking about it and turning it over, but I didn't really have a breakthrough until I spoke with my partner at Thousand Ant, Sam Ang. We were having a call talking about some business stuff, and I shared with him, hey, I'm feeling really stuck. I don't know what to do. I want to give up. And, and I said, I've realized I've got myself in this situation with all this content and that this kind of Animal Crossing-like format is going to be really difficult. And what he suggested was, it's a game about mining space rocks, and there's this time-based element. Why don't you try turning it into an idle game or an incremental game or a clicker style game? And actually, I had, as one of my inspirations that you may remember from the first devlog, one of those games was an incremental game called Space Plan, which I actually downloaded again and started playing again, and it's great. I highly recommend it. It's on iOS now. You can get it there if you're interested. He mentioned we have a mutual friend, Andrew Garahan from Computer Lunch, who just released his idle game, Cell to Singularity, which is great, is apparently doing great out on the mobile app stores. I encourage you to check it out. I downloaded it and started playing it and have really been enjoying it. Actually, I want to get him on to talk about that. We might do a podcast with him. I got to reach out to him. Hi, Andrew. But that was what I needed. That was the thing I needed to hear. I don't know if actually that idle format is going to be the answer. But having a scaled down, programmer focused concept to focus in on really has kind of helped me to start to feel unblocked and to think about a way forward. So for me, next steps are to think about and prototype some version of that idle game loop and to think about how that can hook into my cute space game world, right? I'm still very happy with the aesthetics and what I have in terms of a kind of a visual idea. And I think that those things can come together and the asteroid mining can come together, unlocking items, all that stuff can come together. But shifting from that more idle, single currency, numbers going up type of approach away from the more open-ended Animal Crossing format that's really dependent on just having hundreds of hats and shirts and stuff to discover. That really was a kind of mental turning point. So thank you so much to Sam for that advice. And I think what we can draw from this as a piece of kind of actionable advice is talk to your friends, right? If you don't have friends who are game developers doing similar projects, make some. Find some that you really respect and trust. I really trust Sam and Matt both, their advice, and being able to kind of go to them and really be vulnerable and just say, hey, I'm lost here. I'm stuck. I'm lost. Give me some advice. They actually gave me really good, really actionable advice, right? But sometimes it's more just a sounding board to bounce stuff off of and say, I don't know, and maybe this, maybe that, and think it through yourself. But having that community of developer friends around me really helped me to kind of make this next step. So this is a little bit of an anticlimactic update. It's a kind of an anti-update, right? Just saying, hey, I'm stuck, but I think I have a way forward. But I wanted to share that with you and just to bring you into that process because this is part of the process. This is creative work that we're doing. It's uncertain. It's open-ended. We're also dealing with our personal feelings and struggling with motivation. And also, we're running a business here at 1000 Ant, which takes up a lot of my time and energy. That is not just this YouTube channel. It's also our client work and all the stuff that we do that's a little bit behind the scenes, and that's been going great, but taking a ton of my focus, and obviously life and kids and all that stuff takes a ton of time and energy. And so this is part of the reality of this, right? That sometimes you're making progress, sometimes you're not, and with a little help from your friends, maybe you can see it through. So I just wanted to share that update with all of you in case you're wondering where I've been or what's up with the project. That's what's up. And hopefully I'll have some more concrete updates and code and new progress to show. I'm actually excited about this kind of shift in direction. We'll see how that plays out. And if you're enjoying the content, please do subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video. That helps other people to find it via the YouTube algorithm and also gives us the signal, hey, we like this, make more videos like this. Let me know down in the comments, have you hit these kind of inflection points in your project? Have you, gotten stuck and gotten unstuck, or have you gotten stuck and given up? Or how do you know when to persist or give up? For me, these are very interesting topics. I might actually try to make a whole video about that as a question, right? I think this is something that many of us struggle with. As always, I really appreciate your spending a little bit of time with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.